What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing!
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NECC. I am still Lychee, again, much to the chagrin of, I'm sure, most of the audience, but we've had a bit of a substitution. Novanta is done for the evening, and I am now joined for the first time by the one, the only, the inimitable Bass from the past. What's up, dude? How you been?
I am awesome tonight. I'm excited to be back in the booth here. I got to open up the day a little while ago, but now we're back with some even more action. And again, the hits just don't stop today. We keep talking about this, but we've got so many games, and this one is going to be another close match. Looking at the stats beforehand, some teams at 1-1 here. Both of these guys have a very pivotal game here. Lychee, who do we have up next?
We have up next Upper Iowa University. I'm so glad you asked, Bass, because I was going to steamroll right past that. Upper Iowa University going up against Fresno State Maroon. Now, Fresno State Maroon is a squad that I have experience with. I did see them play once against Kansas Wesleyan. Unfortunately, they did lose that match 1-3, but they also wound up beating Concordia, Wisconsin, all the way in game 5, so 3-2. They had a bye in the middle there in week 2. Interestingly, Bass, Upper Iowa has a scarily identical record, if you want to go through that for a second, provided you have the numbers up in front of you.
Indeed, I do. Both of these teams have basically had, well, yeah, literally the exact same schedule. They took a loss 1-3, so both of them were able to get one game on their opponents that they lost to, and won both of their games in game 5. So both of these teams have been to the limits. They've had really a rigorous schedule so far here. It's going to be really interesting how this series turns out, especially with this first game. There's going to be a lot shown here in this first game that's going to probably carry on throughout the rest of the series. So hopefully there aren't that many mistakes. Hopefully this is a good game on both halves. I wish them luck, as it looks like we do have kickoff number 1 here. Upper Iowa versus FSU Maroon, and it's going to be Fresno in the orange, Iowa in the blue. Good luck to both teams.
Throw 5 minutes up on the clock. Let's get this going. Big Daddy Rue, Krupster, and 10-pin on the side, ladies and gentlemen, of Upper Iowa, and FSU Maroon going with Dust Lunacy and Zonum Plays, who I did see earlier on hanging out in chat. So what's up, dude? I'm sure he's tuning in right now. Best of luck to everybody, as you said. 20 seconds gone, still 0-0. Krupster can't beat Dust. This one's off of the corner wall. Big Daddy Rue is going to have to flip. was going to have to half flip there, but wound up side flipping, so halted the momentum. A pass mid there to Zonum from Lunacy. Executed relatively well, but the momentum has already died out in midfield. Big Daddy Rue misses this one high. 10-pin coming in. Still has ball. The ball. What? Possession of the ball. Dear Lord. Bass, it's been a long day. You're going to have to help me out, bud. Oh, what is that? Zonum. What a block. What a block. I thought he had lost possession of this, but it's 1-0 to Fresno State.
All right, well, I guess they can help you out, too. What? It's basically a free flip out of Zonum that somehow predicts where that one pops out. That's vaguely reminiscent of another play that I believe Staged and I watched either last week or 2 weeks ago that we ended up posting on the Twitter. So Definitely if I hadn't seen it somewhat before, I'd probably be a bit more surprised by the play, but instead it's 1-0 here. Somehow Fresno State have come away with the lead to start off, and this one looks to be very hectic, Leachy.
Dust is up, trying to make it 2. Doesn't have the boost for it, though. Oh, Lunacy does. 2-0 to FSU Maroon. Man, they came to play today.
Indeed they did, and they're just popping off on offense. The other thing about it is they're taking advantage of the defensive back end here, shooting it in the perfect places. 10-pin rolls a little bit too far into goal, and it's slotted into the bottom left. The touch off the backboard left room for the initial shot there. So really just well played from FSU so far. 2-0 with about 1:30 gone. They've got plenty of time to try and keep the score going, but at the same time, I don't think we've quite seen the full Upper Iowa team. They still have some chances on offense that they need to capitalize on. Speaking of which, this might be a good chance as they break out of the half. 10-pin to the middle, and Krupster will finish it off. All of a sudden, Upper Iowa have cut the lead in half.
3:20 left to go, too. I think we have the beginnings of a super exciting series yet again. Bass, the only thing is that the previous series, they were heavyweights at the top of the table. It must be said, both of these teams, Fresno State Maroon, are sitting in 5th place and Upper Iowa in 6th. So now towards the closer to the bottom of the table, there are 9 teams in total on the West Emergence leaderboard. But as you know, as evenly as the teams were, as evenly matched as the teams were earlier tonight, these guys, you could argue, are even closely or even more closely matched. Excuse me, my brain is having a ton of trouble tonight. And I think we're seeing perfect evidence of this here as Krupster tries to make it 2. Can't beat the defender in Lunacy is dead. Zone and plays, looking for the solo dribble. Muscles it past him like he isn't even there. 3-0 now to Fresno State Maroon.
3-1, but still a emphasis more than anything else there. Zonum just continues to be that offensive flair that we need to see here out of Fresno State. This is a very explosive offense versus a team that looks a little bit hesitant right now. Yes, it's game 1, and yes, it's going to take some time to get used to the nerves of being on stream and being in a pivotal match like that, but they don't really have that time right now. We need to see something out of Upper Iowa to get their confidence back. Double commitments like that in the corner are definitely not going to help them, but maybe an offense will here. Can they finally get something done as they move into the FSU half?
Oh, 10-pin, that catch threw off Big Daddy Rue, and now this one is wide open for FSU Maroon. If they can make this one work, no. Zonum can't direct that just underneath the crossbar. Now, Upper Iowa looking to put something together. 10-pin waiting patiently at the top of the box, but that one just kind of runs into nothing. Krupster's up for attempt number 2 off the crossbar. 10-pin is in. There we go. Goal number 2 for Upper Iowa brings their team back within 1. We still very much have a game 1 on our hands.
And again, I think we're starting to see just 2 explosive offenses going up against each other. Right now, we're not really seeing as much of a defensive effort out of either team here. I do think that's going to improve as time goes on, but again, game number 1, it's a little bit of feeling out how the other team's going to play, figuring out what type of game you want to play, and well, I think this is going to be a pretty aggressive one as both teams are just unloading shots on target right now. Speaking of which, another one out of Zonum's not really going to go anywhere as BD Rue is going to be able to hit that one all the way into the opponent's half, and almost 10-pin almost able to slot one in as there's a defensive error in front of the net. But again, this is what we mean. This one's not quite done yet. Upper Iowa are on the brink of tying this one up.
Minute 17 left as time ticks down. Oh, Lunacy, great stop there. Up above, that one's open. If Big Daddy Rue can get this stop, which she can't, so he needs to scramble back in position. That touch didn't make it any better from Krupster. Luckily, 10-pin Johnny on the spot dealt with that one for the clearance. Now Dust is waiting patiently in the midfield for Zonum to get the clearance. Was probably expecting a pass there. Never found it. 10-pin into the FSU Maroon corner. Gets the touch, but it sends it the exact opposite way. Danger isn't over yet, though. Krupster is up and just didn't quite get the bounce he was expecting. Zonum on the side wall, past Big Daddy Rue, over to Lunacy. Sends it high. I think was expecting Dust to be there, but was in a completely different position. So that chance goes by the wayside. 30 seconds left as Bass, we see that FSU Maroon is still able to hold on to this 1-goal lead, but it is narrow as can be.
Yeah, you can see that they're starting to slow down on the back end, too. They're trying to make as little errors as they can because they know this 1-goal lead is not going to be very steady. And as we have a bit of a collision at midfield that I didn't really expect, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was 2 players for everybody off of Upper Iowa going for that one. And yeah, it's going to lead to FSU being able to close this one off within regulation. And Upper Iowa, I thought, might be able to get one more offense, but stomped out at midfield, and it will not arise. Upper Iowa, unfortunately, go down by 1 in a narrow first game that honestly could have gone either way there. That was extremely close.
Very much so. And honestly, there's not much to separate either of these teams when we look at the scoreboard as well. I mean, what, five saves for FSU, 4 for Upper Iowa. Shot total was 8 Upper Iowa, 7 for FSU Maroon. So if anything, that would on paper, and again, I cannot harp on this enough, thank God this game is not played on paper. If anything, that would lead you to believe that the edge would be slightly in Upper Iowa's favor. But clearly, FSU just had that little extra bit of, gusto to make this one work. And now they go into game number 2, 1 game up in against a team that I think they probably expected to have a very fierce contest against. And so far, from the first 5 minutes of this series, that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a tense matchup no matter what. The question is whether or not this starts to sway in one favor of either team. As, again, it's about making those adjustments. If a team can figure out exactly what they're doing wrong for the beginning of the game, they can then make those adjustments throughout the rest of the series here. So, game number 1, a tense nail-biter going back and forth here. But I have a feeling game number 2 is going to probably be closer, if not as close as we see this entire series get. Pivotal moment here in game number 2. Let's see what these two teams have got.
Lunacy, probing shot on target. Whoa, almost getting the scoring started early, and Lunacy does wind up getting the scoring started early. He just needed 2 shots to do it.
All right, well, I guess we're going to be off to an explosive start again. The offensive seeming to still click here. Lunacy barely misses the first one, slams in the second one. A quick lead here to FSU as they are already up within game number 2. This could be the momentum just swaying in their side, which would not be good for Upper Iowa. Down a game here, they need to try and give themselves some sort of momentum. Oh, and as Krubster gets denied out in the midfield, no momentum will arise. The offense not quite done here yet for Upper Iowa, or maybe I spoke too soon. An inopportune play, and here comes FSU. Oh, not quite able to finish the shot. Lunacy going off the backboard. Again, the quick counterattack and the efficient play that we're seeing out of Fresno is why they currently have the 1-game lead.
I wonder if this is going to be a playstyle that they're going to be able to maintain for the entirety of this series, because it's no secret that being this on the ball is definitely mentally draining, if nothing else. Now, maybe they may argue that playing against Upper Iowa makes it a little bit easier for them to maintain it, but I, as somebody who wants to believe in some evenness between these two teams, I'm gonna go with, yeah, maybe this will take a toll on them, which may allow Upper Iowa a path back into some level of competitiveness within the series. The thing is, we're in game 2 and FSU have the lead once again. So right now, nothing is in the column of Upper Iowa trying to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, unfortunately right now for Upper Iowa, they're not necessarily showing us anything that's going to dazzle both the people in the booth as well as the players on the field. Again, it may not be necessarily the same exact view here, but from outside in, we can see what's happening on the field a little bit more, and we can understand how they're not necessarily playing that explosively. On field, though, I do have to imagine as well that Fresno don't necessarily feel that threatened. If they don't seem like they're being pressured, if they don't feel like at any moment they could get scored upon, they're going to have all the confidence in their side. They're going to feel like they have all the momentum on their side, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for Upper Iowa to get anything started. They need to try and break this stride somehow. I don't know if it's demos. I don't know if it's an overly aggressive offense. Double commitments like that definitely aren't going to be the way to start it up, but whatever it may be, something needs to click here for Upper Iowa. Otherwise, they're going to fall victim to another 1-goal loss here. But half the game left, plenty of time for adjustments. As they go into their own half, though, they have to at least not get scored upon again.
Demo on Lunacy coming from 10 pin. This one off the back wall. Krupster misses that one, but crucially, Big Daddy Roo did not. Into the midfield. Zonum up high, 10 pin up, even higher. Better position to make that stop. Dust waiting a little bit too patiently. This one's dropped down by Lunacy. Dust is turning. A double commit this time on the part of FSU Maroon. And now Krupster has an open goal to shoot at, but great save from Zonum. Had to make that difficult decision. Do you just head straight back to goal or maybe get in the way of the ball? And clearly he chose wisely there. You think that maybe he wouldn't be so lucky the next time. Lunacy couldn't force that one past Big Daddy Roo. The pressure is still on for FSU Maroon as Upper Iowa are still struggling to break out of their half on a consistent basis. Bass, we're down to the 90-second mark, and FSU are still holding on to this one-goal lead.
Not only are they holding on to this one-goal lead, but they're not even really allowing any good shots to arrive out of Upper Iowa. Again, it's one thing to actually be able to break out of your half. It's another thing to then be able to turn that into a good offense and a nice shot to finish off. They keep getting out of their half just barely, but it's stomped before they can really turn it into anything. This is a very dominant Fresno State squad right now. The question is can they maintain this dominance? Oh, my word! For the rest of the game, passing it to the other team, probably not going to help. And as Dust throws up a great pass in chat, I think they're aware as well. This was not the touch they should have made.
Krupster goes, thank you. I'll take this one to the bank. 66 seconds left, and all of a sudden it's tied up. FSU were sitting pretty on that one-goal lead, and that's not something that I say often because at any time a one-goal lead could be reduced to nothing. But FSU are able to claw this one back off of a kickoff goal with exactly 60 seconds left.
10-pin just overcomplicating that for absolutely no reason. I don't think they even needed to flip out there in midfield, and as they literally dodge it like a bullet, it's unfortunately going to leave an open back end, and all of a sudden Fresno State are back on top. All of that momentum, all of that hard work out of Upper Iowa, and it is erased within a moment, has got to be deflating. I hope that they can keep themselves in this because 50 seconds is plenty of time to try and tie this one back up again, and if they do not do that, if they do not take this one to overtime and potentially win it, they'll be down by 2 games, and oh, it looks like they just might. Lunacy puts in a third, and with a 2-goal lead and 30 seconds left, I think that might just be the nail in the coffin, Leachy.
I could not agree more. A nice, simple shot. Krupster just didn't have the pace to get there. 36 seconds left, as you said. 2-goal lead. It's asking a lot. It's never impossible, but I feel like as casters, we like to fall on that cliche a lot. We need to think of it in a more realistic fashion. All FSU Maroon need to do is take the ball into their possession and invite Upper Iowa to come at them and then just win a couple 50s, and this game is in the bag. In the span that I have said, I've explained all of that, we have run down to the last 11 seconds here in this game, and no comeback goal was scored from Upper Iowa. I do believe that this is going to be game number 2 going to FSU. The ball hits the ground. That is exactly what will happen. 2-0 on the series to Fresno State Maroon. They are feeling themselves right now. What a performance compared to game 1, I gotta say.
Yeah, they looked a lot more dominant here. It was a close back and forth in the first game, but again, this is what we were mentioning as we exited out of that first match, was that, hey, the momentum could start swinging in one of these two teams' favor, and all of a sudden we could have a very different series. Well, we indeed did have a very different series, and one person to highlight within that is going to be Lunacy is dead. Lunacy took 5 shots, had 2 goals and 2 saves, was the leader in every single category but assists for their team, absolutely dominated on the pitch, and that's the issue, is that when you have players that are feeling themselves, feeling their confidence, and really starting to hit their stride, it becomes very difficult to mount a comeback. So at 2 games down with a very dominant performance out of FSU, Upper Iowa have got to get something clicking in game number 3. They're on the verge of being swept, and definitely not a position they want to be in.
So that's the thing. They have to get something clicking, Bass, but what is that thing that they get clicking? Is it target somebody on FSU to unstable them? Is it that they have to work on their communication a little bit to reduce the double commits? Because we did see them out of both teams, to be fair. I don't want to highlight, one specifically, but I mean, what is the key to unlocking this FSU Maroon team? Because they seem I won't say infallible, but they seem pretty dang hard to break down right now.
Yeah, especially considering, like you said, the double commits and the minor errors that we have seen. I think that might be the first thing. Like, I always am a fan of clean Rocket League, simple Rocket League that works effectively. So in game number 3 here, if we can just see them lock down the back half and just play with a little bit more of a traditional Rocket League, no double commits, simple rotations in a triangle, all the basic stuff that, you know, you learn when you first start getting into the game, I think they might have a chance, because just playing like that is going to throw off your opponent considering how differently you had played previously. But as FSU are already in the attacking half yet again, game number 3 looking like it might just be the same story as before.
Krupster getting beaten here at the beginning of game number 3. 30 seconds gone. This one's up high. Rue's turning around. Kind of scuffed that clearance a little bit, but 10-Pin did luckily step in. Wow. Actually had a very threatening attempt there on target, but Lunacy standing tall. Oh, Krupster getting bumped out by Lunacy yet again. Lunacy, I gotta say, Bass, I mean, Lunacy has been everywhere something important on the field is happening for FSU Maroon. Lunacy seems to be involved. Unfortunately, was not involved in a save here. Upper Iowa have the lead in game number 3.
Oh, this is just unfortunate. You can see Lunacy coming in there. Thought that because there were 2 players on the left half of the field there that, you know, there would be a chance someone touches it, at least delays it, something happens, right? No, unfortunately not, as neither player can make a touch there. It's going to be the first lead we've seen, I believe, the entire series to Upper Iowa. Hopefully they can maintain it. A minute gone here. They've got some much needed pressure. And again, their offense does look a lot more revitalized than before. They are jumping way more aggressively on these balls. They are absolutely keeping the pressure up as they move into their opponent's half. But as I say that, a bit of an awkward dead zone in the midfield might give room. Oh no, BD Rue can't finish off the shot. But again, this is a very different pace than before. Fresno State don't look to be nearly as comfortable. And meanwhile, the offense for everybody off of Upper Iowa has just started clicking.
Clicking indeed. Zonum trying to catch this one. Does relatively well to maintain it. Oh, beats another one. This one's off of the backboard, but Krupster sees this one clear and now has 10-Pin waiting in support for some kind of a pass. Didn't get the most confident of touches out there. Rue leaves this to 10-Pin as he rotates back. 10-Pin. Oh, the solo effort. Popping in high. They saved it. Lunacy. Are you kidding me? The pin save on the goal line. I want instant replay. I've never wanted instant replay so badly in my life. I need to see that save again. Somebody get that clip for me.
That looked like it was entirely in. I thought that was going to be a 2-0 lead. The offense is still continued here, so we may still see that 2-0 lead if we can see another goal out of Upper Iowa. But man, that's about as close as you can get. And again, we mentioned their name all day. We'll continue to now. Lunacy just getting involved in the right place at the right time there. Walks away with the technical save. I am baffled that we're still at a 1-0 score line. But Upper Iowa probably going to be feeling pretty good. They didn't give up an easy transition goal against them. So good offense, good defense, completely different Upper Iowa team here in game number 3.
That one's destined for goal. Big Daddy Rue makes it to FSU Maroon. All of a sudden are finding themselves struggling a little bit. Zonum couldn't catch up to this ball in time.
I like that they're taking shots a little bit earlier, and they're actually trying to keep those shots on target pretty much every single time. They're not making anything too intricate. They're making standard shots on net, and that's exactly what we're hoping for. Go back to the basics, just keep the pressure up, and keep that final shot clean. If you can do so, you're going to have a great shot at breaking down FSU because, as we mentioned earlier, neither of these teams are playing perfectly, so capitalizations upon mistakes really could separate the two of them. Speaking of which, it's a bit of awkwardness in the back corner, and 10-Pin will take advantage. You call it, and it will arrive all of a sudden in a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
It was that whiff on that initial clearance that made the difference there. If that touch happened, none of this goal, none of this buildup that led to that goal would have ever taken place. But the touch didn't happen. The buildup did happen. And Upper Iowa find themselves in the driver's seat of a strong 3-goal lead now. And that's, I've got to admit, this was I didn't see this strong of an adjustment coming. Dust is going to get one back. Minute 17 left. Maybe miracle time here, but I think honestly, Upper Iowa has done enough to convince me. I think they deserve this game 3.
Well, it would be an absolute shame if they somehow lose it, but again, momentum been a huge factor here in this series. It has been so far that the first team to score has then kept the momentum and went on to win, but a big momentum shift here in the last minute of the game, or just before that, I should say. Maybe we see some sort of comeback out of FSU. I, again, also would be extremely surprised, but you know, I've seen crazier things in Rocket League, and as Lunacy clears this one out to midfield, it's going to be a bit more difficult than I expected. Double commit, clear this one all the way out. Lunacy also pops us into the backboard. No one's home in goal, but no shot can be taken. BD Rue has now moved in, and as they just delay the shot, the inevitable, I don't want to say goal that could come, but, you know, the opportunity that will arise, it just doesn't seem they have the time here. FSU, even if they are able to get one, have to get a second one to just take us to overtime, and with 30 seconds left and not much momentum on their side, I think we're going to game number 4.
I agree. That's my scientific analysis. I agree. 10 pin up high. Trying to make it 4. Some cheeky solo effort. Couldn't make it happen. Sent long. Rue. Oh, I had enough boost in the tank to chase that one, but opted not to. Oh, this may be 4. Finding it, almost finding its way in. Lunacy, I think, realizing late that he had no boost for that one and then decided to flip just at the last second. Doesn't matter. What a win for Upper Iowa. And all of a sudden, FSU Maroon have some things to think about, Bass.
That was a completely different game than we had seen previously there. Upper Iowa looked like they were just absolutely dominant the entire game, and it just didn't really make a lot of sense considering what we had seen previously. Like you said, that 3-0 scoreline that arrived halfway through that match just kind of still rattling around in my brain. It didn't make a lot of sense. And part of that is that they really did shut down the opportunities that were necessary for some sort of comeback out of FSU. A big player to highlight. Again, we'll keep saying their name. If they end up winning the series, I'd probably end up giving them the MVP of the series. Lunacy had 0 shots the whole game. They were so nervous about the pressure that was coming against them from Upper Iowa that they had 3 saves and 0 shots. So just a completely different game there at FSU. They need to somehow find that pressure again. Right now, their offense just does not have that firepower.
I'm a very, very big fan of teams who are actually able to recognize that something about their playstyle needs to change and then actually implement that change effectively. Because it's one thing to, you know, for you and I schmucks just to sit here and be like, oh, they got to shoot better. They got to hit the ball better. But it's another thing for the teams to recognize it who are in the thick of it. To have the foresight to be like, okay, yes, I'm struggling right now, but I'm able to have like the bird's eye view of everything that's going on, see what's going on, figure out what needs to change, discuss that calmly, you know, between teammates, after a game is finished, and then actually implement and execute on that plan. Huge ups to Upper Iowa. I'm a fast fan of theirs right now. I'm really looking forward to now how game 4 plays out, because I'm looking forward to seeing if Upper Iowa can maintain that play style. B, I now want to see if Fresno State Maroon can do that same game style, you know, implementation change, blah blah, and make something work here in game 4.
Absolutely. And one thing I do also really appreciate about Upper Iowa and their changes is that they kind of, I don't know, maybe they were listening to the cast and heard something I said, but they really did stick to a lot of the things that I was saying they needed to change. The rotations became a lot more standard. All of a sudden, you saw all 3 of the players really being in the right position at the right time. They cut down on the mistakes that they were making. Silly challenges and, you know, riskier plays just didn't seem to appear nearly as often. So they made a lot of the corrections that we were hoping for. So now that they've made their corrections, they start to look like a much more solid squad all around. Their offense is starting to click better. Their defense is starting to seem a lot more solid. It's going to be interesting, like you said, to see what sort of adjustments we see out of Fresno State here, because once these teams are at a peak, I still don't know who I would necessarily vote for. It seems like once these teams are at their best, it's going to be about even. So honestly, I don't want to cheer for Upper Iowa here, but Game 5 would be pretty cool.
Listen, as a fan of competition and neutral competition and just a show in general, Game 5, I will always vote for Game 5. I will vote for an underdog, but more importantly, I will always vote for a Game 5 because Game 5 deciders are where true entertainment and true storylines are made. So that's what I'm pulling for. I'm hoping to that end, Upper Iowa is able to pull this one back. But like I said, I'm equally as interested to see what FSU Maroon is able to do. I wonder how much of this is going to come into, or how much consideration is going to go into maybe Lunacy being able to step up and be that leading line player for FSU Maroon that we saw in games 1 and 2, because as you said, no shots in game 3. So what a drastic change there. I think a part of this is going to be up to Lunacy to be able to recognize that Upper Iowa kind of stifled him almost completely and figure out a way around that. And, you know, easier said than done, but again, that's why I'm casting it. They are playing. I hope that they have the ability to figure that out where I could just say like, oh yeah, just do that. Obviously.
Hey, listen, I will say this. As much as we are critical of these guys, if you've ever seen Twitch chat during any sort of lowlights when it comes to people playing, it is absolutely brutal. I have seen people call SSL silver 3s, so it's quite something when you see those guys who are like, I could be better than this. I'm gold 2, and this is obviously it's don't worry, everybody always has critiques, and the question is whether or not you're able to rise above them and take away what we'll call are the good parts of the critique and take them to heart and start to run with them. So far, it seems like Upper Iowa have been able to do that, but again, we hope that they can try and keep the momentum just for the sake of competitiveness. We'd love to see a Game 5, and as I think we do have the server up and everybody in here, I think we're just about ready to let these teams hit the pitch as long as we have got a okay from both sides, as it looks like we do indeed. Here we go, Upper Iowa versus FSU. This is going to be game number 4 for Upper Iowa. They win this one, they move on to possibly reverse sweep their opponents. For FSU, they're trying to finish it here and now in 4 games. Good luck to both of the teams. Let's see what they've got.
5 minutes is all that separates FSU Maroon from going home early. Well, technically both of them from going home early. It's just one of them will be going home early as a victor and the other one in defeat. We'll just have to see which one of those teams that will be. Out to the right side. That one put in mid by Krupster. Big Daddy Roo. Can't quite grab a hold of that one. Bass, I gotta say, first 30 seconds of this game 4 has been a lot more disorganized than I'm used to seeing from these two teams.
I think the nerves might be here. I don't know exactly
Maybe
what's going on, but all of a sudden, this is looking extremely awkward. Finally, now we get some pace on play. Maybe we can see something develop here as FSU are going to be on offense. Pops high, Lunacy has 2 players, but why? No, Zonum cut off Dust, who had a perfect shot, and that'll be the end of the offense. Oh my word. Everything is going from bad to worse for FSU. They cannot afford to double commit like that, especially when the counterattack is lethal.
Krupster caught this, I think, with the very bottom of his back tire. Look at this one. Oh, okay, it was more the side, but regardless, what a read. And Tenpin's going to get the credit for the assist. Beautifully played, and what a fantastic way for Upper Iowa to break out of their own half and just instantly put the counterattack on their FSU Maroon opponents. And quite honestly, a well-deserved 1-goal lead here. About, what's that? 75 seconds in. Upper Iowa looking quite healthy so far. FSU Maroon yet again backpedaling.
Oh my word, so far this one has looked very different for FSU. Well, I mean, I should say very different from the first half of the series here. FSU in game number 4, game number 3, we started to see the struggles develop. Now here in game number 4, they are accentuated beyond belief here as they are just struggling to get any sort of momentum on their side. Maybe they can try and run with this as they finally have a good clear, but as Tenpin will be out at the midfield, it looks like it could be a shot. No, nothing will arrive. Krupster gets gets in late, and it's not going to be an accurate enough shot. Oh, but his no touch comes through. Zonum has to bail them out. Somehow doesn't get credited with a save. That is an absolute rob there. Zonum deserves to have a save for that one.
You know who had the save? The crossbar. Zonum plays. Okay, he was like, you know what? You're not going to give me a save. I'm going to force this through into the opponent's goal. 1-1 for FSU Maroon. What a dunk.
Oh my word, and we're gonna continue to stay competitive here, 1-1, and all of a sudden we're tied back on up. Maybe that is the, shot of life that we need to see out of FSU. If they can start to get the momentum in their favor, maybe we can see them return to form. Listen, as much as I would love to go to Game 5, I'd also love a competitive Game 4. If we finish it here now with a back and forth of epic proportions, I'll be satisfied enough.
Fine, I'll take that bargain. I won't fight you on that. Fine. I guess. Whatever, Dad. Lunacy is dead. What are we doing? Lunacy is dead. Looking for the solo dribble. Oh, to beat 10-pin. That was a great pop up and did get the team double. And in the melee on the goal line, Dust somehow manages to see this in.
I mean, really heads up play to Dust, to be honest there. Lunacy popped it a bit too far, so Dust just tried to pop it against the backboard to keep it in possession. As they do so, they're realizing, oh, let me just get the second touch and pop this one on in. All of a sudden, it's a really impressive play there that is going to give a little bit of momentum to Upper Iowa. Oh my, or excuse me, I was going to say to FSU, but Upper Iowa, all of a sudden, they've got the momentum now in their favor as they're on offense and aggressive. Can they do anything with this at midfield? No, apparently not. A bit of hesitation, but it looks like it's not going to result in much as it's just going back and forth, back and forth.
Great pass mid from Krupster. 10-pin just couldn't find that final touch. Oh, 10-pin, not the backflip he wanted. That one is off of the back wall. Daddy Rue needs to challenge this one. Doesn't get there in time. Everybody very hesitant on the back wall, or back line rather, from Upper Iowa. 10-pin putting this one on target. A looping shot. No! The double commit from FSU bites them.
Oh no, this is brutal. This was just, again, I feel like this keeps happening. I don't know if it's maybe the communications are starting to falter here for FSU, but just, they can't afford this. They keep going up for balls in the air that they both have, and somebody has to call somebody off. Yes, it sucks to tell your teammate, hey, don't touch it, I've got a better touch, but at certain points, you kind of just have to do that. It cannot afford to continue double committing like this, especially in a close series where the other team is starting to find their flow. Speaking of which, good save out of Big Daddy is going to make them move into the upper half. Almost a nice shot, but as it's a double commit, they're going to have to pause for a second and restart, but not for very long. Again, Upper Iowa really do look to have the momentum in their favor now.
Lunacy can't beat Big Daddy Rue. This one's dangerous, especially with 10-pin up in the air already. Gets the full boost. Looking to be as obnoxious as possible. Big fan of that play style. This one's off the sidewall. Dust. Shot/pass hybrid. That one's high off that backboard, and Zonum will have to see this one high just to kill the momentum for now. Bouncing in the box. Lunacy, a powerful clearance. Now a two-man advantage here for FSU Maroon as Upper Iowa is looking to get back into position. 10-pin will do so brilliantly. Still going with this one. Can't get the dunk. Krupster misses. Rue, pass. No, it's not a pass over to Krupster. He did go for the demo and got it, but it wasn't a productive one. I feel like maybe would have been better served positioning to receive that ball from his teammate as a pass. As it stands, Bass, we have got overtime in Game 4. FSU a single goal away from putting this one to bed.
Oh my word, this is going to be a tense overtime here. This could be the end for FSU if they can capitalize right here, right now. Not quite able to. A contested shot. Oh, but is that one waterfall down? I thought we were going to see the end here. Instead, it's a counterattack where all of a sudden Upper Iowa might be able to, but oh my word, I don't know if my heart's going to be able to take this. This is, listen, we said we wanted a tense Game 4. It looks like we're getting it. If we also go to a tense Game 5, I think I might just have to tap out.
Take your medication, ladies and gentlemen. They don't tell you about this with the NECC when you log into the Twitch channel, but there will be some heart palpitations, and that's just something you got to deal with. It comes with the territory. Big Daddy Roo looking for this clearance straight into the face of Zonin Plays. Zonin waiting for this one to come down, waiting too long. Krupster will send it off to the side. That is a shot on target from Dust, and it's going to go in. FSU Maroon will take it in game 4. What a shot to put this one away.
Oh my word, was it a perfect shot ever? Just sees that Big Daddy Roo is a little bit too far out of net. If that one had been any more center, probably could have cut the angle, but as that one goes right underneath, I think that's going to be that. All of a sudden, we are wrapped on up here. Definitely would have loved the game 5, but man, game 4 delivered for sure.
I had to listen. I submit that was, I would say that was as good as going to game 5. So you were right. We took a competitive game 4, and it was great. So I'm happy with what we got. FSU Maroon, 4 games, and they now, you know, I think the biggest part of this is now they have a positive series record. They go 2-1. I'm not quite sure how that works out with their game differential and whether or not they wind up overtaking Ottawa University, because I'm really bad at math on the fly, but we'll work it. I think that's 7 and okay. Luckily we got some live updates. So they do still stay in 5th place, but they are 1 spot, I think, underneath Ottawa University. If my math is correct. No, Ottawa University actually do dip down into 5th because they went 2-2. So Fresno, given that they have 1 game in hand, temporarily take 4th place. So that makes this win even sweeter.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Upper Iowa, it's just going to knock them down a little bit. It's not going to really move where they are within the standings because everybody below them at the moment is struggling to get their first win, but it is definitely going to make that climb up to the higher parts of the bracket a little bit more difficult for them. So definitely not too too early to call it quits. We're not far enough into the season that anybody is out of the picture here, but definitely a rough back half for sure for them, as they're going to need to keep climbing from here on out. We wish them a lot of good luck, but you know, it's going to be I'm not going to say a long season ahead, but it's going to be a difficult one, as everybody in this division is ready to play, and they're going to continue to get better as time goes on. But Lynchy, man, what a series that one was.
What a series. You were talking about how it's going to be a long season. You know who enables us to make it through the long season? Our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. You knew it was going to come eventually. Meta Pro Gaming, everybody, is a full service esport management, developmental, and consulting company. Meta provides esports coaching, college esports management, arena design, and equipment. Please visit them at metaprogaming.gg to learn more. Thank you very much to Meta Pro Gaming for making this broadcast happen, making the season happen, helping us to last the entirety of this NECC Rocket League season. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the season has in store. There are so many divisions, so many fantastic teams. Bass, the action never stops.
No, it does not. We've still got one last series tonight. Unfortunately, we are going to lose the great Lynchy. I am sorry to see you go, but luckily, I believe you will be back next week. So we'll get to see that beautiful face yet again. But for right now, we're going to have to move into a little bit of a break, hear from a couple of other people, you know, that help us out and make sure that the NEC can stay up and running here. So quick little break. We'll be right back with our last series of the day, which, hey, we're going to be moving back up to Division 1, as I believe it is going to be Boise State Blue versus Montana. You're going to want to stick around to watch that. So quick little break. We will be right back.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.